promoters' debt. We have with us Mr. Puneet Goenka, Managing Director and CEO, and who is also part of the promoter family. We will start with a brief statement from Mr. Goenka, which will be followed by Q&A session. Before I pass it on to Mr. Goenka, I would like to remind everyone that anything we say during the call that refers to our outlook for the future is a forward-looking statement and must be taken in the context of the risk that we face. Thank you, and over to you, Mr. Goenka.
Thank you, Vijay. Good evening, everybody. I would like to thank you all for joining us on a holiday. Let me start with providing a brief context to the disclosure made yesterday. The loan from VTB was taken in September 2017. Though none of the Zee's shares were pledged to VTB, an encumbrance on 10.7% stake was created under a structured arrangement. As per the new SEBI circular dated 7th August 2019, the disclosure requirements have been extended beyond pledges to include any form of direct or indirect encumbrance. Therefore, the disclosure made yesterday is in compliance with the new SEBI circular. I would like to clarify that there is no additional debt which has been taken by the promoters, and neither has VTB invoked any of the shares under the arrangement. Further, the debt from VTB was always included in the total loan against shares disclosed to the market at various points in time. Just to recap, the promoters' loan against shares was rupees 135 billion as on 26 January 2019. This has been reduced by almost half through repayments from stake sale in Zee. Loan against shares now stands at approximately rupees 70 billion. Both the above numbers include the debt from VTB. The rupees 70 billion is against shares of Zee as well as other listed and unlisted group companies. At present, promoter stake in the company is approximately 22%. We are actively pursuing stake sale of group's media and non-media assets to potential investors. We are working towards resolution of the promoter's leverage issue in a quarter's time. Now we can open up for question and answers.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and two. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Abneesh Roy from Edelweiss. Please go ahead.
Thanks, Puneet, for the opportunity. My first question is, you said the lenders are aware of the VTB agreement, VTB loan at least, but do they know that indirectly there is a pledging? So if you could clarify on the pledging part also.
So as I said, that was not a direct pledge, Abneesh. It was an indirect encumbrance that was created, and we've always maintained that the total outstanding of the promoters at various stages against shares we have disclosed, whether it was 13,500 as on January or it is 7,000 as on today.
And how does this indirect encumbrance work? Can they also sell, because it is not directly Zee listed, what is the course VTB has in case there is any issue? So if you could clarify how the mechanism works.
Give me a second here, Abhi. So, Abneesh, just like any other pledged security, they could potentially invoke and sell if they so choose to.
And they can sell.
Maturity on this is a little over 1 year now. Still pending.
Okay, so before that they cannot sell.
Yes.
And they don't hold Zee directly, so but in case of the maturity, they can sell Zee shares directly?
Sorry, sir, repeat the question. I didn't understand it.
So this is indirect encumbrance. So you are saying maturity is still around 1 year is left. So after 1 year, if you are not able to pay VTB, they can sell Zee shares directly, or they hold the promoter share at the promoter entity?
So they can sell the Zee shares directly by way of invocation. But having said that, VTB is known to be a long-term player, and they have worked with several promoters in situations like this to build value for themselves and for the promoter. And I hope VTB will act in the same manner with us also.
So my second question is the share price obviously has gone down. So what happens to the pledging? Normally when share price goes down, you need to top up in terms of pledging. Is that a requirement, or is it taken care in the standstill agreement?
Yeah, we don't have any requirement for top-ups as we speak.
Even in case of VTB?
Yes.
And so lastly, in terms of the standstill, the regulator has been saying they don't recognize. So if you could clarify, could there be any potential issue because there is 6 months period? So can regulator have some issue in terms of the overall implementation of this?
I can't really comment on the regulator's view or what they will do, but I can tell you that standstill has not changed the maturity of any of the lenders' securities. So that's still in place, and therefore we should be okay.
Okay. Okay, Puneet, that's all from my side. I'll come back in the queue. Thank you.
Thank you, Abneesh.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Akshat Agarwal from CLSA India. Please go ahead.
Hi, Puneet. Thank you for the opportunity. You mentioned that the promoter holding is 22% currently. So does this include the potential sale of another 2.7% to Oppenheimer?
Yes, it does.
Has that concluded? So that has already concluded. So the entire 11% has been sold.
No, 2.3 is still balanced out of the 11%.
So another 2.3% is to be sold yet. It hasn't been sold.
Yeah, because we are in the silent period right now, we can't engage on that. So we will engage with them after the silent period. But what I have known of them, they are long-term shareholders, and they will be committed to the company and to their agreement with us.
And once they are sold, the 70 billion figure would also go down, right? This does not include the potential proceeds of the sale.
Absolutely correct.
Oh.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Riken Gopani from Infina Finance. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. Firstly, I would just like to understand that is similar to the collateral requirement at the domestic borrowers, lenders. Was there a similar requirement at VTB level, and are we in some sort of a standstill with them as well as of now, or there is this 1 year maturity before which there is no particular covenant which is being breached as of now? If you could just clarify on that.
See, there are certain covenants we have with them. I don't want to get into the details of that on this call, but I can get my corporate to look at it and come back to you on those things.
Right. But do you at least confirm that as of now you do have a standstill, or there is some comfort that as investors we can have that VTB is not going to be in the market to, or at least for 1 year there is not a reason why this should happen? Is there some comfort that we can get on that?
No, we are constantly in dialogue with VTB, and I'm sure they will act maturely along with us to ensure that value remains intact for themselves as well as for to the promoters.
Right. And just a follow-up on so this disclosure that has happened from VTB is as a part of a SEBI requirement, or they chose to disclose it at their end? Just trying to understand, because it's not come from Zee, it's come from VTB. So if you could help us understand that.
So as I said, as per SEBI circular dated 7th August 2019, this was a new requirement, and therefore it was disclosed by VTB. And we've also disclosed the same.
Understood. And so just lastly, sir, to clarify on the previous point that you just mentioned that the current stake is at 22%. So that is adjusting for the 11% stake sale and whatever got sold because of invocation. So it includes the entire 11%. Is that understanding correct?
No, it includes the 8.7% of that, plus any invocation that may have happened till date.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you. That's it from me, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Any participants would like to ask a question at this time, they may please press star and one. The next question is from the line of Dinesh Kulkarni from Mission Holdings. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Thanks for taking my question, sir. I wanted to know, you mentioned your current stake is 22%, right? So what percentage of that is pledged as of now, including this disclosure?
A little over 90% is pledged.
Little over 90. Thank you, sir. Thanks for question. Yep. That's my question.
Thank you, Dinesh.
Thank you. Any participants who wish to ask a question at this time, they may please enter star and one. The next question is from the line of Arun Kumar from Unifi Capital. Please go ahead.
Thanks for the
Sorry, Arun, we are not able to hear you clearly.
This loan against share, could you give us a bifurcation, sir? How much is against mutual funds and how much is against NBFCs and financial institutions?
No, it's confidential information, difficult for us to share that.
Okay. And this 7,000 crores is loan against shares. May I know what is the total loan outstanding at the promoter level?
So beyond the 7,000 crores, all the other debt is in operating companies and not promoter levels.
Okay, sir. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vivekanand Subbaraman from Ambit Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, thanks for the opportunity. Of the total 70 billion rupees of debt, Puneet, a few days ago you had mentioned that money due to domestic lenders is around 50 billion. So does this mean that the 20 billion amount due to foreign lenders is entirely to VTB Bank? That's question one. And question two is, in January when you had done call, you had disclosed that you expect 200 billion of value, enterprise value from the non-media asset sale, of which 80 billion was equity value. So that implies 120 billion of loan in the operating companies in the non-media assets. Are those numbers still correct, or is there change there? And lastly, there was a media article in mid-September which mentioned that the Delhi High Court arbitrator had instructed the group not to sell unpledged stake in Zee Entertainment. So does that mean is there any restriction in selling the unpledged stake, 2% that you have right now? Thanks.
Yeah, so the first question, yes, the domestic loan is 50 billion and the offshore is 20 billion. These are ballparks. Don't hold me to the last Anna Pai. On your second question of the infra assets value, what we had discussed in January, I don't think holds true today. As you know, the markets have worsened from that time, but we are working with potential investors for the infrastructure assets to derive maximum value that we can on the equity side. The debt numbers also would have changed since then because there would have been maturities and some debt would have been paid down, etc. So I don't have the current numbers. But as of January, your numbers are in the ballpark correct. And India Bulls, the India Bulls matter. Firstly, there is no loan against these shares that India Bulls has. The High Court order that was given out was relating to Dr. Chandra's assets in his personal capacity that he cannot sell, and especially the ones that are unencumbered. So therefore, it has no impact on the Zee transaction or any other transaction for that matter.
Okay. And just one small detail regarding the foreign loan. You mentioned the numbers are ballpark correct, but the foreign lender, is there only one lender, VTB Bank, or are there other foreign lenders also?
No, there's only one foreign lender.
Thank you, Puneet. Thanks so much for the clarification.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Satish Jain from Monifest Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Puneet. Essentially, I wanted to ask about the monetization of the non-media assets. Now, what is the progress there? Has there been any interest? Why is it taking so long? Because 6 months have gone by and the environment is getting tougher. So do you think that things can close down quickly in the near future, or it will take time? Because the value of the Zee shares have come off significantly. So I'm sure the lenders would have already started getting uncomfortable.
No, Satish, we are, talking to people at advanced stages. The fact of the matter is that these things take time. These are not easy assets to be sold. But I can tell you, when I say the quarter timeline that I'm talking about, I'm pretty confident that things will materialize within that. Also keep in mind the Zee stock is played off or is trading where it's trading without anybody giving any value to the operating metrics of the company. It is purely on the back of this overhang the stock is where it is. The company is still performing immaculately, and you will see that within 2 weeks when we declare our quarter 2 results as well.
Yeah, sure. But frankly speaking, when the lenders, they hold something as collateral, the value that they have, because they've also answerable to their unit holders or whatever. So beyond a point, it will become difficult for them as well. So I was just wondering if the timelines that you're talking of are would be easy to achieve given the tough environment.
Given the situation, nothing is easy, but we are working 24/7 to resolve the position. Also keep in mind, we've almost paid half the debt down. So it's not as if we've just sat on our backsides and twiddled our thumbs. So in today's market, to pay down half the debt is also not an easy task, which we have been able to achieve. And I'm confident that with me and my team, we should be able to achieve the timelines that we are talking about here.
Sure. And sorry, if I can just add one more question. On Dish TV, again, there have been talks with about the sale to or a merger or an arrangement with Airtel. So I don't know whether you'll be in a position to answer that, but that would also be a significant piece of the entire resolution plan.
No, I agree with you, but at this call, I'm not at liberty to answer those things. Let's talk about that separately.
Okay.
As family, we are pursuing all our options. I can only tell you this much.
And sorry, if I can just slip in one more question. Is there still an opportunity for a strategic investor to come in? Because I think that can really add a lot of value to the stock. Because selling in the market or selling into a financial investor really erodes the value for all stakeholders, including yourself.
Absolutely, Satish. We are very much open to any strategic also who may wish to participate. And I'm sure all of them are tracking what's happening with the company.
Thank you. Mr. Jain, we request you to join the question queue for any follow-up, as we have several participants waiting for their turn. We'll move to the next question. That is from the line of Rishabh Chudgar from Enam Holdings. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, sir. Thanks for letting me take a question. Sir, I just have a quick question. If I look at the current shareholding of the company and the market cap, the value of the stock of the promoters is close to 5,000 odd crores, while our loan against shares, which is still left to be repaid, is close to 7,000 crores. So how are we looking to, mitigate this remaining 2,000 odd crores? What kind of assets are we looking to sell?
So there are other assets also, Rishabh, that is there as security. It's not as if it's only the Zee shares. And keep in mind, with a group of our size, some small loans may continue on a long-term structured basis. So while we want to solve as big a problem as we can, but we are, as I said, we are looking at all options. And if we keep looking at the problem with yesterday's price, we'll never come to a solution. So I think we have to always look forward and work towards finding whatever best solution we can in the interest of the lenders, in the interest of the equity shareholders, and then finally, if anything, the interest of the promoters.
And just a follow-up on that, sir. How confident are we that, that we'll be able to retain this 22% and, look at other assets which the promoter family owns to monetize those assets initially and then coming to Zee. So at the same time, we have controlling power in Zee Entertainment.
So Rishabh, I've also received all those WhatsApp messages since yesterday. Let me assure you that whatever stake the promoters are left with in Zee, whether it's single digit, whether it's 20%, 22%, I am committed to this company for the foreseeable future and beyond. This is the only business that I run and I'm passionate about. And if the process will allow, I will continue to run the company for the time to come.
Okay, sure. Okay, thanks, and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Nuno Fernandez from GWK. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted, because the quality of the sound is not perfect. So I got three questions. The first one is, can you tell us exactly the number of pledged directly or indirectly shares as of now?
A little over 90% of the 22% is pledged as of now.
Directly and indirectly, both?
Correct.
Okay. So the second question is, I understand you cannot comment on any covenants with the VTB loan, but can you comment whether any of the covenants have been breached as of now?
Just give me a second here. So I will have to check that, Mr. Fernandez. I don't have an answer for you right now, looking at my team around the table, but my team can circle back with you on that.
Okay. And then the final question, I think, is a difficult question, but I have to ask. If in the course of all of this process, you and the promoters and the controlling holding company lose all of the shares that you have in Zee, and you find out that you have no stake anymore in Zee, personally as well as your family, will you still be the CEO of the company?
If the new shareholders would so wish to and do the process and allow me to, I'll be happy to do it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Himanshu Shah from Daulat Capital. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. So just a couple of questions. First, can you just open on the balance Oppenheimer deal? Why is it taking so long? We were expecting it to close it quite sooner. Balance 2.3%.
No, sir, there is a process that was to be followed, but since we hit the insider trading window, we can't complete that transaction. As I said earlier, that we are engaging with them, that once the window is over, how to re-engage and get the transaction completed.
So, but can there be any risk with respect to either revision in price or the deal not going through with respect to that transaction?
Yeah, as I said, VTB now is Oppenheimer, I'm sorry for that. Invesco Oppenheimer is now the single largest shareholder after the promoters, and they do know the value of this company, and therefore I don't think they should go back on anything on that, but only once I re-engage with them will I know the details.
Okay, sir. So second thing, sorry, I mixed in between. Is there a timeline mentioned by you that you expect to make the repayments within a quarter's time or something? Sorry, I missed in between. I lost somewhere.
Yeah, I said that 3 months is what we are looking at to solve this problem.
Okay, including the entire payment.
Well, that's the objective.
Okay. And lastly, sir, is it fair to assume that for the Indian lenders, the current holding that they have at current price, while their loan against share is almost double the value of the shares that they are holding in current scenario?
As I said in my opening remarks, the security that the local lenders have is not just Zee shares. They hold listed entities of the group plus non-listed entity assets as well. So yes, if you look at it purely on the Zee pledge, yes, your answer would be in the ballpark correct. But with other securities, the numbers will be very different.
Thank you, sir. That's it from my side.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of John Long from New Silk Road. Please go ahead.
Hi, Puneet. I just want to check for clarification purposes. Do you know if the lenders have taken the SEBI accounting haircut on the debt that you owe?
I wouldn't be aware of that, John.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Alankar Garud from Macquarie. Please go ahead.
Hi, Puneet. Thank you for the opportunity. Firstly, Puneet, can you tell us how much of the promoter debt is due by March 2020?
I don't have those details here right now. But as I said, the maturities start from early or quarter four end, and they run all the way up to 2021.
Okay, early Q4. So basically around Jan.
No, end of Q4, I said.
Okay, end of.
We are committed to resolving it much before the maturity dates.
Okay. And secondly, Puneet, can you just help us, because if I just look at the stock price somewhere around 10th or 15th of September, maybe 15-20 days before the original deadline of 30th September, it was significantly higher than what it is right now. So what can possibly give you confidence that you might be able to conclude any further stake sale in Zee at closer to those levels or possibly the level at which Oppenheimer invested at? So is there anything which gives you confidence on that front?
My confidence only comes from the performance of the company. Beyond that, anything that happens in the stock price is not in my control. So I can only say that we have worked to ensure that company continues to perform better than yesterday. Also keep in mind, nobody's even considering the fact this new tax announcement gives a 300 crore tax break straight to the bottom line of the company. So, it baffles me that nobody wants to look at the performance of the company and is only focusing on the overhang due to the promoter's leverage.
Understood. And finally, so we already concluded the deal for 1/3 of our solar assets. Now, when you talk about a resolution within the next 3 months, should we expect that maybe at least one amongst these, so one among solar or road, could possibly get concluded and monetized in the next 3 months?
Yeah, I think so. We are working on that, and definitely part of that will take care of some part of the debt as well.
Okay, that's helpful, Puneet. Thanks and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Abneesh Roy from Edelweiss. Please go ahead.
Yeah, 2 follow-ups. One is in the media it had come that the standstill agreement is there for 6 more months, while you are saying that your endeavor will be to pay in 3 months. So actually, do you have 6 months from the lenders?
Yeah, Abneesh, we don't want to comment on the timelines, but I'm only talking about what I'm committing here as to my plan for repayment.
Right. And second, now the stake is at 22%. So whoever has to sell, have they already sold, which got renegotiated at the end of the September 30th? So in the near term, it will not go down further?
Well, I would hope so. And, given that we are working relentlessly with all the lenders, talking to them daily basis, but if somebody wants to lose money and still sell the stock, that's their call. I can't really stop them. But definitely, I would only say that if they work with us, their chances of recovering are much better. And I hope better sense prevails.
Okay. Okay, Puneet, that's all from my side. Thank you.
Thanks, Abneesh.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Yogesh Kirve from B&K Securities. Please go ahead.
Just continuing on one of the previous questions, so regarding from the sale of the solar assets, so what timelines are we expecting the proceeds? I understand the part of the solar assets are already, some are under construction and some are already completed. So what sort of timelines are we looking on those?
I'm hoping that it will get concluded definitely within quarter 3.
Okay. And apart from solar assets, are there any other binding offers that company right now has, either for infra assets or any of the listed stocks?
We have binding on roads, on few of our roads, not all, but some of our roads.
Mm-hmm. All right. Right. And another clarification. So if you look at the domestic, the loans, do the original maturity profile has relevance now? Because as a part of standstill, we would be committed to paying off entire debt by March 20. Is that right?
No, that's not the objective that we are going to pay off by March 2021. We want to pay off earlier on, but that's how we believe that in the next 3 to 6 months, nothing is even due, but we should be able to resolve this problem within the next 3 months.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Sure. All the best. That's all for me.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of G.V. Giri from IIFL. Please go ahead.
Hi, Puneet. A question from my side is, number one, what is your strategy on movies? You've been ramping up movie production a little bit, movie inventory a little bit recently. So what's your strategy going forward over the next year or 2 years? And secondly, the other question is a little bit tricky. I don't know how you'll answer this, but you said you're pushing very hard for a deal, but you obviously need time to let your stock price recover. And the higher the stock price, the better the chances that you'll have a meaningful stake left when the dust settles down on this. So isn't that a bit of a contradiction, and how do you view that?
So, Jay, firstly, the first question, I think, please be a little patient, wait for the second quarter results. We'll answer that question on that call because, we'll cover that in detail there. On the stock price, as I said earlier, I can only talk about the performance of the company. How the stock price performs beyond the performance of the company is not in my control. I have a certain timeline that I am working with internally, and if that means losing more than what I desire to lose in terms of stake in Zee, so be it. I've also stated clearly that even if I'm left with a single digit holding, I'm still willing to work for the company if the due process allows for it. In fact, somebody even asked if I'm left with nothing, would I still want to work for the company? I said, yes, I'll be willing to work for the company, even if zero stake is left, if the due process again so allows for it. So I don't think that right now it is about maximizing value. It's about getting this problem resolved as a family and moving on in life for us.
Sure, Puneet. Tough situation. All the best.
Yep. Thank you, Ji.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that would be the last question for today. On behalf of Zee Entertainment Enterprises Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you all for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.